Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the weekend. Keith Engle here for TGI Sports Talks, Jack and Keith's Weekend Playbook. Lots to chat about today, but first I want to welcome in my co-host, Boxing Hall of Fame writer and Michael Spink's biographer, Jack Hirsch. How are you, Jack?
I'm doing fine, Keith. I'm doing fine. I was fine before the show when you asked me how I was. I didn't get worse in this time, in the interim.
Listen, we have to keep up the mystique that we don't talk outside of this hour.
We first communicate when this show starts.
We hate each other outside of this hour.
Yeah.
And if it's worse than this hour, people must think it's really bad, I guess. But I want to welcome you this morning. Jack, you're looking very dapper in your new snapback. That was the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Snapback hat. Jack looks like he's getting ready to sit with Spike Lee on Monday night in the Garden.
Could I tell you something, Keith? These snapback caps are for young people. So you might wonder why I'm wearing it, because it was the only cap available when I, went in a department store. There were a whole bunch of caps. I got to tell you, this is funny. They had a lot of these discounted caps. I saw a jet cap for $3. It looked different. Different. I was about to buy it. It was in my hand. And I kid you not, this is a true story, Keith. Then I noticed it's the Winnipeg Jets of the NHL. I nearly bought it, jet cap. Wow, this looks different. It's kind of cool, Let me wear this type of jet cap.
Well, the New York Jet hat, they probably would have paid you $3 to take away from them, so you'd have been better off.
Okay, but we show our support for the Knicks. Terrific Game 1 victory a couple of days ago. Now we're down to Game 2.
I do tell everybody Jack's too difficult to work with, Scott, but I keep coming back every Monday and Friday.
I beat him to it, Scott. I tell people how difficult I am.
That's right. Jack and I are both very self-aware people. We understand our faults and how people look at us, and we don't care. Listen, we got lots to talk about. We got Knicks Game 1 victory. We'll get into some Game 2 tonight. NHL, a couple of great games. Last night was a wild one. Wild one for sure. The NFL, big trades and an Aaron Judge injury to chat about. Let's cut with the Knicks. Game 1, I talked about it Monday, and I talked about it on the on professional sports show. I expected a sloppy game, and we got a sloppy game. Several lead changes, big leads. Both teams ran up big leads and blew them and fell behind. And the Knicks overcome a 13-point deficit in the third quarter. Brunson was not good until the crunch time, and the Knicks defended Wemby pretty good. Maybe it was their off shooting, but some strange decisions too. Harper sitting out most of the fourth quarter, very odd for the Spurs. Overall, though, you got to be happy to come away with a win in Game 1.
Oh, absolutely. In case, just for the record, you could tell the viewers, hours before Game 1, I emailed you and changed my prediction that I said on the show originally, San Antonio in 7. I analyzed it, and said Knicks in 6, and sent you the email, which you can verify that I did pick the Knicks. So if anyone wants to get the tape of me picking San Antonio, I did change hours before the series, after getting in deep thought.
On the Wednesday night roundtable show, I did announce that you sent this email, and I had finally convinced you to back your home team. So.
No, well, you know what it is? I mean, the Knicks just seem to be so much more mature, physically mature as well. And I think we got a little carried away, at least I did. Wemby's incredible performance of Game 1 against OKC. He looked like the greatest player of all time in that game. He looked like he was trending to be the greatest player of all time for sure. And I even said when Wemby's career is all said and done, we're going to have a bracket of the big three, Jordan, LeBron, Wemby, and there's a good chance we're going to put Wemby number 1. We've never seen anything like him before, but he's not quite that guy. He's great. He's super great. Don't get me wrong. But you know who he's more like, Keith? He's more like Bill Russell, a great defensive presence who early in the game against the Knicks, he forced the Knicks to redirect their shots. People are talking about why it took Brunson so long to get going. because he had this monster he had to like float the ball over, and that's Wemby. And we'd see Brunson and Anunoby, who was hesitant to go to the basket early in the game. Wemby was making his presence felt on the defensive end, but there was great coaching by the Knicks staff. Mitch Robinson played an invaluable role because he would he'd set screens, he'd get in Wemby's way. So he would clear lanes, and Josh Hart was phenomenal. And Josh, the 15 rebounds, but the way Josh Hart's desire to get the basketball, and I don't want to use the word saying he out hustled the guys on the Spurs, because that would make it seem like San Antonio was a little lazy. You know, San Antonio is coming on a little bit of criticism, Keith, because Dylan Harper got off to a great start, and then they took him out, but he had similar minutes to DeAndre Fox.
But it's when he played him. He didn't play at the end of the game. He was out of the game while they were blowing his 13-point lead, basically. So
I know, but Fox has had a pedigree for a number of years as I don't want to say an elite player, but as a guy who was, a very proven, very, very proven.
Yeah.
And just because Dylan Harper had a hot hand early, it doesn't mean he's going to have it later. But
Fox didn't either, Jack. He was 3 for 13. He didn't score in the fourth quarter, I don't think. And Harper sat the bench except for like 2 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Well, what the concern me about Fox is he hasn't, for the most part, been getting it done. He wasn't that good against OKC. He wasn't that good against Minnesota. And I know he's been hurt with the ankle, and that might be the reason, or that might be at the very least contributing to it. But Fox hasn't been the same player he was, years ago when he was at Sacramento, and early on, as well with San Antonio. And there's a decision they're going to have to make, San Antonio. Do you stay loyal to Fox, or do you start Harper? I mean, if you think Harper's a budding star, the future, don't hold back. Play him now.
I don't think starting matters. It's who finishes, right? It doesn't matter who starts, right? The game is the game.
At the minutes at the end when all said and done. No.
Harper can't be playing 2 minutes in the fourth quarter. Not that game. Not in that game. If he's not playing well, okay. But that decision cost the Spurs, I think, big time. And you have to. You gave the Knicks coaching staff, Mike. I think Mike Brown outcoached Johnson in this game. I don't think you can call it any other way.
He did. Wemby, too, offensively, they're going to want to play him more in the low post now.
Yeah.
They play Wemby in the low post. They better get Towns and Robinson into foul trouble, because if they don't, even though Wemby's going to get his points, it's going to take away from San Antonio's bread and butter, which is their 3-point, shooting game, their perimeter shooting. So Wemby's going to get his share of baskets. But if they're going to keep feeding him the ball in close, Wemby's going to wear down as the game goes along. By later in the game, he's going to wear down. And you get the feeling, even though San Antonio is the younger team, you get the feeling, in a sense, the Knicks are the more fit team who can handle the pace. The Knicks, all the Knicks have to do is keep coming at Wemby, keep going at him. Wemby's going to do some great things tonight. He's going to block shots. He's going to assert himself early in the game. A couple of the monster dunks. He's going to get the crowd going. But wear him down as the game goes along if you're New York.
I think that's probably a good thought. And I think they will have their feet under him a little bit better. And Wemby talked about during these playoffs that this young team, them being young is an advantage for them, because they don't know doing the impossible isn't impossible or isn't possible. They didn't play like that the other night, though. They didn't play with reckless abandon. And I think you might see more of that tonight. Wemby turned the ball over 6 times, too. The turnover, I think, was the biggest part of this. One of the big parts of this game was they turned the ball over 13 times. And the Knicks, while they had some problems in the first half, only turned it over once in the second half as they were making this comeback from 13 down to 10 up. So, if the Knicks get out of here 1-1, we'll be happy.
No, I don't look at it. This is how I don't look at
I
it.
want to win. Don't get me wrong. You're not going to
No,
be.
of course, I don't look at this home court advantage nonsense. Teams are ready. Does it mean something? Oh, it absolutely doesn't. If you want a prediction, Keith, I'm going to say the home team is not going to lose again in this series, meaning San Antonio win tonight, the Knicks will win the next two at the Garden, San Antonio win game 5, Knicks will win at the Garden. If you want a prediction, so that tells you a lot about what home court could mean.
Yeah.
But we've seen it too many times visiting teams win, and you can't have the attitude, well, we'll split, because I'm going to tell you, that means the pressure's on the Knicks, if you look at it that way, to win both at Madison Square Garden if they lose tonight. Because if they split, then, 2 of the next 3 in San Antonio. Don't look at it that way. Charles Barkley said it best, in the post-game show. He says what he wants to see in game 2 is a very greedy Knicks team, not to have an attitude, well, we got the split.
No, I don't want to see that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not happy with a split. It would be okay to go home with a split is all I'm saying. And they need a better version of Brunson, a more consistent version of Brunson, I think. Although there's 2 schools of thought here. So we only had 2 assists, I think, which is not good.
Well, early in the game, Brunson wasn't looking to shoot. He wasn't looking to drive to the basket.
Well, he didn't get any assists either.
Because at that point in the game, they had Stephon Castle, who was guarding him well at that point, and you had Wemby underneath. And San Antonio's game plan was to contain Brunson, and he knew it, and he deferred to the other players on the team, but no one was really asserting themselves outside of Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns, as far as I'm concerned, was the most valuable player on the Knicks in game 1. I'm Josh Hart. Brunson third. Brunson gets the headlines because of the way he finished game 1. But on balance, it was Towns and Hart. Towns, Hart, and then Brunson in that particular order.
I would agree. And as I've said, I've been a big Josh Hart fan for a long time. And you see in this game, he only scored a couple of points, but 15 rebounds, 6 assists on his part. He's an integral part of this team, obviously. Now,
obviously, the way he has a knack of getting the ball.
He does.
Being around the ball, getting steals, disrupting things. I appreciate Josh Hart more. As long as you don't count on Josh Hart to be an offensive presence, you'll be fine. He's going to give you, a lot. When you need a guy to hit some shots, even though Josh Hart can do it, I actually have a little more confidence in Shamet coming off the bench.
I would agree in a big moment. I mean, but Hart does have his big games, but he's not the guy in a big moment you want.
But he's the guy who disrupts things.
He finds the ball. You're absolutely right.
He's a big test to the other teams.
Now Brunson did take 31 shots the other night too. That's a lot to get to 30 points. But
no, he didn't play a good game.
No,
Brunson closed great. He closed great. He gave you 2-3 shutdown innings at the end of the game.
He played great.
But he was struggling. Karl Anthony Towns was the guy most of the game. Karl Anthony Towns outplayed Wemby. And you know what he did too? When Wemby came out, Karl Anthony Towns took the ball right to the basket. He was sending a message. He was sending a message that the low post is mine as well. I'm not just going to hang out perimeter shooting. I'm taking it to the basket. You give me an opening. You come out. Either you leave me open or I'm going to take it to the basket. And he took it to the basket.
But here's the thing, too. I was going to say with the 31 shots, it sounds bad. But also if Brunson just keeps doing what he does, even when he's off his game, they still have to account for him. If he just gives up the ball, that I think you're doing them a favor. The more he does give up the ball, I'd like to see more than 2 assists. But
I'd like to see Anunoby be a little more involved. Doing what he does best.
He was early.
The short range jumpers.
Yeah.
And I think he'll get more involved as we go along.
I think so too. And he was involved early in that game and kind of faded into the background, I think, later on.
But you notice this Knicks team, they put points on the board in bunches very quickly. Very, very quickly. It's hard to believe They actually won by 10 points. Are you kidding me? The game was in doubt with under 2 minutes left.
Pulled away.
And the Knicks tend to go on these spurts, like bing, 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 bing. And before you know it, they rack up 8, 10 points in the blink of an eye, it seems.
The defense is a key to that, and a lot of times too.
Yeah.
They turn the ball over and they got quick points, and they play fast as well when they're getting those spurts, obviously.
But you know, San Antonio, they are showing up tonight. They are determined. This is it with Wemby. But I'm going to tell you, if the Knicks win tonight, I mean, San Antonio, after what happened in game 1, I don't mean that they're going to give up, but it's going to be tough. But people are going to talk if the Knicks win tonight. They're going to be talking of a Knicks sweep.
Well,
That's
they
not
won't
going to happen. I could see them then splitting it if the Knicks win tonight, splitting at the Garden, and San Antonio winning a game 5 at home. I still think it's a 6-game series.
I'd called it 7, so I wouldn't be.
It could go 7. It could go 7. Hey, if the Knicks win tonight, could it still go 7? Yeah, they could. It still could happen. It still could happen. Nothing surprises you, with teams like this.
Again, it's a big win for the Knicks because they didn't play their best, but we also didn't get the best, by far the best out of the Spurs the other night either.
That's what we don't think about. That's the one thing we don't think about when we look at it from a Knick perspective. Wemby is going to come back a more determined player to game 6. They're going to use Wemby differently in game 2. Did I say game 6? They're going to use, I didn't mean that to say that. They're going to use Wemby differently in game 2 from game 1. San Antonio is going to make adjustments. Either Fox is going to have to be on top of his game, or Harper's going to be there at the end. And they're going to make some overall adjustments. They will. I mean, but
if Harper plays the way he played game 1, he will be on the floor at the end of game 2. I guarantee you, because Johnson can't make that mistake 2 games in a row. Can't.
Harper's going to be a future All-Star for number seasons. Yeah. He's a heck of a player, but Harper's not going to carry the team, and he's not going to be outstanding game after game after game. It's not going to happen. But between him and Fox, we'll see. I expect Fox to be bad. I can't believe that Fox is going to be this flat for the rest of the series.
Well, they could be getting tired, too, as Todd says here. They could be getting tired. And the Knicks, that 8-day layoff, while they were a little bit flat to come out, it did help them because they are fresher, for sure.
And you look at Mitchell Robinson standing next to Wemby, and he puts a big body on Wemby. I mean, it's hard, the physicality part of it. Wemby's very tall, but he's kind of slender. And
he gets winded quickly, too. Even when he's not, I've noticed this even early in the playoffs. He gets himself winded for a young guy, and he's a big guy, and all that's a lot to carry around the court. But they have to get him out of the game to give him a breather here and there. And when you don't turn the ball over, the clock doesn't stop. You either got to call timeout or you leave Wemby on the floor. So not turning the ball over is going to be huge for the Knicks. They got to continue what they did in the second half here. Going into game 2, because I would love to come home.
But I'm going to tell you, with the crowd being what it is, when the Spurs were up, 13?
Yep.
Yeah, it was hard to visualize the Knicks winning, because the Knicks got off to a good start. They got the lead. San Antonio wiped it out. And I had a little hope right before halftime when the Knicks started coming back, and then San Antonio hits a couple of buckets. They go up by 7, and you didn't get a good feeling with the Knicks with game 1.
Yeah,
I mean, you didn't have a good feeling, and then I mean, going into the 4th period, it's tied up, and you're thinking, wow, they took San Antonio's best blows, and this game is even.
Hey, listen, you got to. They're well conditioned, and again, 8 days off, and they play.
I'm going to tell you, I think Carl Anthony.
So they've only played 4 games in about 3 weeks when you think about it.
And I like the attitude that Brunson had leaving the court. He looked dejected, like they lost.
Well, he was having some issues with some guys in the stands. If you noticed, when OG was shooting some foul shots in the 4th quarter. And then after, he was kind of jawing with those guys just before he went on the air for his interview. So I think that's part of his demeanor.
I wonder what they could have been saying. You had a fan that ran out in the court. It seemed like a kid.
He's been barred for life, by the way.
Yeah, but listen, when he's an adult 20 years from now, mature, a great member of society, I could see them lifting it. Life doesn't necessarily mean for life.
Anybody who's doing their due diligence when he's applying for jobs will find that video and say, dude, what's this all about? You want to selfie in the middle of game one?
Yeah, I don't know. Going for jobs, they know who did what.
Social media, Jack. All the time I would check people's social media and look for them online. Always.
Yeah, I mean, fans used to do that all the time, but we're not used to that in the NBA Finals. And not on the court at that moment.
It's a dangerous situation.
ABC shouldn't have shown the fan.
No, they kept showing it too. So
yeah, I mean, you don't do that because you're glorifying what they did, and you encourage someone else to do it. Just like these copycats. If no one knew who the copycats were, they're less likely to be copycats.
So we can be confident when you and Spike are sitting at courtside Monday night, you will not be trying to get a selfie during the game with Jalen Brunson, right?
No, Spike. Spike.
Jack and Spike are really from.
Listen, Spike's a real fan. You have your celebrity fans who show up just for certain games or whatever, and they like the Knicks. But Spike. To Spike, he's more than just a fan. In a way, I mean this as a compliment. Someone's going to take it the wrong way. There are a few idiots who take it the wrong way. Spike is like a mascot for the Knicks, a good luck charm. I look at him as a good luck charm for the Knicks. It's as if Spike is an extension of the team in a certain sense.
As long as Reggie Miller isn't on the floor, yes, I agree. But.
Well, yeah, but he goes back a long way. I mean,
listen, Spike's there during good and bad, right? I see
exactly. Nothing but praise for Spike.
I don't see Ben Stiller there when they're losing. I only see him there when they're winning.
Nicholson was the same with. Well, the Lakers always win.
Yeah,
they're never really bad. But Jack Nicholson, all the games he went to and so on. I mean, those are genuine fans, and they can afford to get their tickets, whatever. I wonder if Spike became broke and he was tapped out with the Knicks take care of him. An interesting thing with the Knicks too.
James Dolan, he's not taking care of him. Are you kidding me? Nobody can sell that seat for $25,000.
Yeah, listen, James Dolan's been a real villain. If the Knicks win the NBA championship, give James Dolan his due, as an owner finally, and get off his case. The Charles Oakley thing. People are all rallying towards Oakley's side, but come on. Look at all the former Knicks players who were in attendance. They don't have a beef with Dolan. And Oakley's done himself no favors by ripping into Patrick Ewing.
Well, Oakley's not allowed to go there, so he can't be there with the rest of those guys.
I mean, if Oakley wants to buy a ticket, I can't see them banning him unless
he's banned from the Garden. Dolan won't let him back.
Yeah.
I mean, this goes both ways, this feud. Sorry. I mean, Dolan's got to carry his part of it, his share of the blame, too.
Yeah, I understand. Let the Oakley just buy his own ticket. Don't comp him. If he wants to buy a ticket, someone wants to buy Oakley a ticket and he sits there, let him be there. But I will say this. If Oakley goes to a game and he starts to, let's say someone bought him a ticket and he harassed Dolan, started yelling things at him, by all means, remove him. By all means.
He needs to learn his lessons. So I agree with that, but this is childish, this whole thing in my mind.
I would really like to see them patch it up. Rumors have it that both Adam Silver and Michael Jordan reached out to Dolan to patch it up. And I kind of wish Dolan would patch it up with Oakley because Dolan obviously has bad feelings and Oakley's been ripping Dolan like all the time. I don't know what's the origin to this feud.
Well, he got tossed out of a game. That's what really started.
No, that was something, but there's a reason he got tossed. What was the origin?
they already had a little feud going. I don't know what, I can't remember for the life of me what started it. But when he was removed from a game, that was the end of it. And Dolan said he wasn't welcome back because of what he said.
Well, because Oakley was in the stands and he was yelling things at Dolan, who wasn't far away.
So anyway, the Chans gave him a standing ovation when he left. I think it'd be pretty cool to see him with the rest of those former players in Game 3. I think that'd be pretty cool.
It would be nice, but can you tell me with absolute confidence that Oakley would behave himself? And right, it would be very nice after the way he's trashed Patrick Ewing to be sitting near Ewing. He's said bad things about Ewing recently.
These guys went through too much together to be on.
But Ewing hasn't said anything bad about Oakley.
I know.
Ewing has taken the high road.
Oak's got a bad attitude. That's what made him a great player, and it's not helping in this situation at all, for sure. So he needs to stop. Game 2 tonight. So listen, I don't know. The Knicks can't play like they played Game 1 and win this game. They're going to have to play a much cleaner game, even though they had the one turnover in the second half. Brunson needs to be more Brunson and I think distribute the ball a little bit better than what he did in Game 1 as well. But this could easily be a Spurs 1-1, but let's hope for 2-0 coming back.
Well, bottom line is you have to make your shots, and at the end of the game, San Antonio wasn't making anything.
Nothing.
Really, they were missing shot after shot. And it's important with the Knicks, to tighten up the defense early on the way they did in the second half, not leave, San Antonio's, perimeter shooters open, having those 3-point shots from the outside. I mean, I think that's really the key. Wemby early on in the game, he's going to assert himself. And the key thing is also, more so, Towns and Robinson, please don't get into foul trouble. Same with Josh Hart. Not early in the game. None of these silly fouls. I don't want to look up and see early in the second period that Towns has 3 fouls on him.
That wouldn't be good.
You got to be careful. And then Robinson starts getting fouls. Let Wemby, if he's right underneath the basket, okay, if he's in position to dunk, let him dunk and, move on, worry about your possession. Wear Wemby down. Wear him down as the game goes along. That
was a positive for Game 1 in this win, as they didn't get in foul trouble, any of them. Robinson had one foul the whole game, and he only played 13 minutes, I think.
Robinson's his hand, I don't know how it's feeling, but he showed he could be effective.
Yep.
And Robinson's not going to be a scorer anyway.
No.
He's there to play. He's there to play defense, to disrupt, to do just enough. And he showed he could do it Game 1, where he made a nice contribution.
Agreed. Let's touch on the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, which has been very interesting. After coming back, I thought surprisingly in Game 1 from a 2-0 deficit to win the game. Vegas wins Game 1 coming back from 2 down. Last night, they've really got their foot on the throat of Carolina, up 2-0 on the road with a 1-game lead. And they blow that lead and they lose the game 4-3 in overtime. Big win for Carolina last night.
Las Vegas, Houghton, the 2 goals he got, he single-handedly took, the Las Vegas Golden Knights on his back. And having a 2-0 lead at the end of 2 periods, up 1-0, the crowd in Carolina muffled. It seemed like Las Vegas was about to go home with a 2-0 lead, and then everything erupted in the 3rd period. Keith, that's what bothers me, hockey. By the time the game started, and on the East Coast, all this is happening around 10:20, 10:30, 10:40 at night. A lot of people have work the next day. Start the darn game an hour earlier. An hour earlier, so people would have been seeing it on the East Coast. Now, you might think, well, the West Coast and this and that. They've got to find a balance if you're going to – the games end a little too late. Kids who, going to school, high school, for example, or whatever. You think the average bedtime for a working person would be about 10 o'clock, right? A 9 to 5, a high school, on average, on total. some get to bed 11, some 9, some like you, Keith, 1 in the morning. You know, it all depends.
I might go to bed at 6 at night too, by the way.
Yeah. But the key part about it, I mean, the controversy with Las Vegas, they thought they, scored a go-ahead goal, and it was disallowed. It was disallowed, on the replay. And Tortorella used the challenge. The Las Vegas coach, it went against them. And as a result of that, Carolina had a power play that they cashed in on, and that was the game, basically.
I found it a little unsettling watching Jordan, and I'm sure the situation played into this. He's laughing and joking on the bench in the second period when he's up 2-0. He got a game in hand. That's not John Tortorella during game time. That's not his game face. That was interesting to see.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it depends how long. You don't know what happened at that moment. For example, Vic Hatfield, a great Ranger player from ages ago, I'm talking a half century ago, was a big playoff game against the Blackhawks. And he was sent to the penalty box late in the game in a big situation. The Rangers ultimately lost the series because of that game. And he had a smile on his face in the penalty box, and he was criticized. You don't know what kind of smile it could be, at that particular moment. Still, quick shots of someone could be very deceiving.
No, well, they showed a few shots of him in that second period where he was laughing. They also did an interview with him where he said he's changed. He's had to change his style. I don't think he's changed his style a lot, by the way. He said you got to be more player friendly and all this, coach speak. And I don't see John Tortorella ever being, cuddly and nice and player friendly.
No, he's what he is. But sometimes when you've been around the block a lot of times, you really got to adjust to how things are, like the modern players or whatever. And I don't know the days of him. Look, he came in late in the season.
8 games left.
As the coach, 8 games left. He's not going to come in and be a disciplinarian. Come in, okay, this is how it's going to be, guys. I'm cracking the whip. You're going to turn your players off. He made the right adjustment, because you come with 8 games left. You're coming in shortly before the playoffs in reality.
Well, listen, we've talked about him being a polarizing figure, and I've said a couple of times it would be so John Tortorella to come in with 8 games left, lead him to a Stanley Cup championship, and get himself fired in the offseason. For whatever he might have already cost him a draft pick, I think, right? For his he's going to bring his team out for the press.
Would you say he's hockey's version of Billy Martin?
Very 100%.
Yeah,
great results to begin with, and things slowly deteriorate from there.
Next season he's going to have a full season. He's going to be with the guys from training camp.
Theoretically, I mean, he could wear thin early next year, so
he could, but if Las Vegas does win the cup,
he'll get a year.
I guess he's a Stanley Cup winning coach, but it's not like he was with him the whole year. It's not like
he won. He's also got a Stanley Cup championship already. It's not like he won.
That was a lot of years ago.
A long time ago, yes.
Yeah,
lifetime ago almost. So, but I think we might see a 7-game series here too. And you know what? I'm not as big a hockey fan, and we've talked about this before, as I am baseball or football or even basketball. But when the Rangers are good, I'm really into this. The other time I'm really into this is when you have game 7s in hockey. I think game 7s in hockey are the best games in sports.
And right? Especially get an overtime game, the tension and everything. Yeah. You look at all the major sports, good debate question. What is the most exciting extra time frame? Hockey overtime, football overtime, basketball overtime, baseball extra innings.
It's hockey because of the sudden death part of it. It isn't that way in any of those other sports. Football, once you get to a certain point, but not right away. So I think it's hockey.
There's a sudden, it's truly sudden death.
Yeah.
In hockey. You score a goal, game is over.
Yep.
Okay, in the playoffs, unless you're playing the penalty shootout. Yeah, I mean the shootout at the
Well, they
end.
don't do that in the playoffs. They don't
They
do
don't
that.
do that in the playoffs,
No.
exactly. But in baseball, no matter how much you're down, the other team's got to get the last out. You always have a little chance if you keep the guys on base and keep it going, like the Mets showed in 1986.
Yeah.
With the Red Sox. And in football, both teams have a chance at possessing the ball.
Right. But from the drop of the puck in hockey, the tension level is just ramped up that much more.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I hope we get an OT.
So much greater. We were talking about like sudden death. I mean, you have to be on your toes the whole way. I think it was something like 1974. You talked about the Rangers and Islanders win the playoffs deciding game, okay, to see who'd advance. And the Islanders scored the overtime goal 11 seconds in by P.J. Parisi. 11 seconds into overtime. That's like insane.
Listen, a lot of great overs. Remember Messier in 94, was it? 90?
Yeah, with the Devils.
I think it's 94, right? Game
Devils,
6.
Yeah.
They must win. And
against the Devils, yeah. A legendary game. Which is a good show we could do in the future, Keith, when we have to tape a show. Legendary performances.
Great.
Okay, maybe in sports history, some stand out more than others.
Let me make a note because we got to do a couple of those shows.
Legendary performances that people remember, that they talk about that one particular performance. And it doesn't mean it has to be the best performance necessarily. I mean, David Cohn and David Wells pitch perfect games. Those aren't legendary performances per se, even though they had the perfect game. You look at Don Larson was a legendary performance because it's the World Series and we talk about it all the time.
Kirk Gibson in one at bat. That's a legendary performance.
Legendary performance, exactly. Yep. Magic Johnson, with that game 6 legendary performance. Mark Messier.
We got some good ones.
Legendary performance. Joe Namath, even though I thought Matt Snell should have been the MVP. Legendary performance. Yep. That's what we mean by that. I mean, Phil Simms' performance was better than Joe Namath's in the Super Bowl he was won when he was MVP, but I don't call that a legendary performance.
No.
You could have a greater performance, but it doesn't mean it's a legendary performance, even though you could be greater. Yeah.
Yeah,
we're on the same page, darn it. Why can't you get on the same page?
I guarantee you.
Remember why it shouldn't be retired, why I say legendary players.
As we do that show, I guarantee you we won't be on the same page for an hour. I can guarantee it. So anyway, let's pivot a little bit because we had some NFL news of a little bit of importance.
NFL news.
As we're sitting Monday waiting for the A.J. Brown trade to come down, it gets trumped. It gets trumped somehow by the Rams and the Browns and Myles Garrett getting traded to the Rams, who are already stacked on defense, but they give up a younger player in Jared Verse, who also you could argue is on his way to being as good as Myles Garrett, and 3 draft picks. And to me, this was a shocker. And the Rams give out mixed messages here. This message and the O.J. McDuffie trade show that, and giving Stafford, I guess, another year, say they're all in for this year and next year. They're all in. But then they use the 13th pick on the draft for a project for the future. Wait.
They don't believe he's a project.
It makes no sense. He can't help them. He cannot help them this year. Whatever you want to say about Simpson, he's not going to help them this year. And this year, they're all in. All their signals that were all in, but they've got no backup for Stafford if he should get hurt. And because if Simpson is up playing, this team's not going to the Super Bowl.
Well, that's Stenson Bennett, I believe, is a backup there. They have Garoppolo's retiring. I don't know.
There's no real backup there right now.
Okay. No. The point is this. I hate to backtrack to Ty Simpson because it's really not about him per se. But no pun intended, we're tying Ty into this conversation. If you truly believe, if you're the Rams, that Ty Simpson is that good to be your franchise quarterback of the future, if you really believe he's an elite college quarterback,
Coach.
you don't believe the Keith, you don't believe that, that's fine. I'm not disputing your feelings. My feelings are the same as yours. But if you believe he's truly elite, it's a good move by the Rams for the simple reason you're not going to be in a position to get your franchise quarterback if Stafford is retiring in a couple of years. So you're getting him now. You made the move. You have your quarterback of the future, and franchise quarterbacks are so hard to get.
Who believes he's a franchise quarterback in the future in that organization?
They do. I don't.
Not Sean McVay. I guarantee you Sean McVay doesn't think that. And it's Snead, who's friends with Ty Simpson's father.
He believes that, but I don't think he drafted Simpson with the 13th overall pick, Snead, their GM, because he wants to do a favor for Ty Simpson's dad. He obviously would. He really believes Ty Simpson is that good, and Ty Simpson's career at Alabama has been checkered. At times he's looked outstanding, and
Sean McVay doesn't want him. How do you not defer to your head coach if Sean McVay really doesn't want him? And I don't think he wants him.
If I'm the GM, let me go a step further. If I'm the owner, the Jets, at the end next draft, I am calling in my coach and my GM. And I'm saying, I want you guys, whatever you do, you be sure you draft Trinidad Chambliss. Understand, this is coming from me. This is my move. I'll take the blame. I will not hold it. If it doesn't work out, I will not hold it against you guys. If the team's not successful, I'm going to take the hit. Not to worry. You're not going to get fired because you decided this.
How are they going to get him, Jack? According to you, he'll be a top 5 pick. According to you, he's a top 5 pick, so they're not going to be able to get him.
He's not going to be to the other teams. He might not be, depending on how the season comes along.
They'll have their shot.
Wait. The Jets got 3 number ones, but that's beside the point. Getting back to the Rams, okay?
Yep.
So they and they traded Jared Verse. They traded a 1 next season, a number 2 the following season, a number 3 a season after. I'm going to say this where Cleveland made a mistake in this deal that no one mentions at all. Because the 3 draft picks they get in 27, 28, and 29, the years.
They're going to be late in those rounds.
They should have flip-flopped. They should not have made the deal unless the number 1 pick was in the year 2029, not 2027, because the Rams are going to have a good team next year, if not a great team. So that pick, in 2029 might have some serious value. But the next season, I'm not saying it won't be a nice pick. Maybe the Rams are going to underachieve and they'll go 20th, 22nd. Who knows? But the value is probably going to be much greater in 2029. That's the point about it.
Yeah, but they'll also have their own pick and be able to trade up potentially from wherever they are if they really want to trade up and get a real quarterback rather than the cadre of knuckleheads they have now.
With the Browns?
Yeah.
No, the Browns okay the way,
they're not winning with any of those guys.
Watson's probably not going to be the quarterback of the future. The only way, if the Browns make the playoffs and Deshaun Watson regains his old form, yeah, it's possible he's back with Cleveland. They sign him a couple of years. Something works out. I don't think so.
No.
Shedeur Sanders is an X factor. He's probably going to start the year as the backup, or should be the backup to start the season. See how he comes along. He's probably going to get some playing time. If Shedeur Sanders is coming along nicely, he'll be the guy that I'm going to take my chances with going forward, because I think potentially he could be a good start in the league.
I think he could be a good starter. I don't think he's leading them to a Super Bowl.
No, but I'll ride with them a while. And no one's expecting Cleveland to win this year. Them getting Jared Verse, I'm going to tell you this. Cleveland came out fine in this deal.
He's because
as time goes along, Jared Verse is going to be, I'm not saying as good as Myles Garrett, but he's going to be in the same ballpark as a pass rusher as Myles Garrett. He already is to an extent, with the number of sacks he has. Jared Verse is going to be one of the better pass rushers in the NFL. And 100%. Also the money that they're saving Cleveland, that's going to help them under the cap to give them more flexibility going forward.
Yeah. I'm not going to say this isn't a good trade for the Browns. I think it is. I think maybe pushing that pick probably would have made sense, as you said. But again, from the Rams' perspective, who's going to – they're all in for this year and next year. They're all in, right? We can agree on that. They're all in. So you don't use your 13th pick the way you used it and didn't use what – hold on. Don't – let me finish.
Yeah, I hear you. And
you're not really listening to what your head coach wanted. But who's going to pay the ultimate price potentially if they don't win a Super Bowl the next 2 years, if they fall flat?
Well,
Sean McVay.
Who could have got in number 13? Malachi Lemon?
A wide receiver.
Lemon would have been good. Lemon would have been really good.
They would have got Lemon. And you can't. They could use help at wide receiver. We don't. Devontae Adams is getting up there. Nakua's got freaking who knows what's going to go on with him. I mean, because he's a nut job. I think they could have gotten him another weapon and been better off these next 2 years than taking Ty Simpson. You worry about a quarterback later. You could get a Ty Simpson type quarterback in the second or third round in the next 2 years potentially.
Listen, you worry about it later, you say. But if you're the Rams, you're always going to have a good team. Even if their window closes a little bit the way the Detroit Lions window closed, they're not going to be picking high enough in the draft.
It has to be a no-brainer to do it there, and it's not a no-brainer. I'm sorry. Again, 10% of the quarterbacks drafted in the first round ever.
Well, you know what they – yeah.
Ever. And that's taking into account some really good ones, right? So the guys like Ty Simpson are a lot worse than 10% of the time. Guaranteed, it's like 1%.
They see something in Ty Simpson that maybe a lot of other teams don't.
None of that's going to help them this year, though.
Hey, listen, let's look back with the Giants when they moved up in the draft and they took Daniel Jones. Okay? They took him at number 6 overall, and people were shocked because he wasn't.
It hurt Daniel Jones too because the perception of him was he's a first round draft pick. He's the number 6 pick in the draft. It hurt the narrative of Daniel Jones the next 5-6 years in New York.
And the jury's out on Daniel Jones. He might turn out to be an excellent quarterback. He's shown flashes. Last season was his best season until he got hurt. He made all the makings of a really good, good franchise quarterback with Indianapolis. And, we'll see what he does this year.
Well, he was punished. He was punished in New York by the fans and the press for where he got picked.
I'm going to tell you the truth of the matter. When you get a quarterback, you need someone who's a playmaker because the truth of the matter, Keith, if you have an excellent offensive line and receivers that could get open in a good running game, any quarterback can succeed.
Great.
Any quarterback, but you need guys who can make plays. That's the difference in this league. I mean, what's the difference between Josh Allen and anyone else? Josh Allen is a playmaker. That's the difference. That's why we say playmakers and game managers. It's fine to be a game manager and give guys credit for managing a game great. That's extremely important.
Around you, though.
But what happens when you can't manage the game exactly how you want, and you have to go out there and lead your team to victory?
Great.
That's the difference.
I mean, I don't see a lot of difference in Ty Simpson and Stetson Bennett, quite frankly. To me, they're the same player.
Ty Simpson, I think, is better. But I'm going to tell you this
Bennett
much.
played more games in college with greater success than Ty Simpson.
Yeah.
He played 1 year. He played 1 year.
Well, that's the problem is, too, with guys like Ty Simpson, and it happened with Sam Darnold, where you don't play a lot of college games. You're gaining your experience as you're playing NFL games, and it takes a while.
It does take a while.
It takes a while.
And think about it. He spent 4 years sitting there, didn't play at all, didn't transfer, didn't do anything. So that tells you that nobody had this great And maybe he's going to be great. I'm not saying he won't be.
He wanted to stay at Alabama.
Oh, come on. If he had a chance to play somewhere else,
Miles Garrett, get off that. Forget Ty Simpson now. Miles Garrett.
Miles Garrett's going to help this team win for
Next
sure.
couple of seasons, Rams, in getting Trent McDuffie to play corner, they got two impact defenders, two of the best, one of the best corners in the NFL, McDuffie, and the best pass rusher, Miles Garrett.
I think this deal works for both
Aaron
teams.
Donald talking about coming out of retirement. I don't know what Aaron Donald would have left if he did.
I don't think that's going to happen, quite frankly, but maybe, who knows? I don't think so. But Garrett makes this team better. Listen, this is a trade that could work for both teams. The Rams' mission is to win the next 2 years. Miles Garrett gives them a better chance, probably, right now, maybe than Jared Verse. But
and has Seattle gotten any better?
And Seattle's theoretically gotten worse, I guess, with Walker gone.
Walker, yeah.
Right?
I was thinking of Seattle, even though he didn't finish his career with them. Russell Wilson retiring. I believe this is a retirement that definitely is going to stick.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's going to get a lot of reason, there's nowhere for Russell Wilson to go.
He's also going to get a lot more money in the studio than he's going to get playing football at this point, too. So
yeah, well, I don't. That may have been a consideration. For Russell Wilson, he might be outstanding in the booth. In the pregame, post-game shows and all, he might be outstanding. He's got a good personality, good-looking guy,
Well, and Russell Wilson, all in all, had a fine NFL career, right? Despite
is it a Hall of Fame career?
Yes,
I'm not sure.
I think it is. I think it is, but we'll find out later on.
Russell Wilson is your typical case of a player who may have played his way out of the Hall of Fame, how he finished the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's possible because it was a negative narrative and a lot of
very negative narrative. Yeah, very negative. And he could have went to the Jets as a backup, but to back up Geno Smith. I'm surprised Geno Smith advocated for Russell Wilson, because if you're Geno Smith, you don't want to be looking over your shoulder, and he may have had to with Russell Wilson, but apparently their years at Seattle together, they had a good relationship, which I think reflects well on Russell Wilson because he was the starter. He obviously was really good to Geno Smith, for Geno Smith to advocate for him now years later.
Agreed. And Russell Wilson plays his whole career in Seattle. I think the narrative is different than it is today, obviously. So,
look, he won a Super Bowl. Part of the narrative that hurts him is that pass, in the Super Bowl that was intercepted by Malcolm Butler. Why they didn't run the ball.
Well, he didn't play.
That had to be Pete Carroll's call. But
there you go.
How does that happen?
Well, that's because Bill Belichick outcoached Pete Carroll.
You're right, Rick. Could the Patriots? I never really asked you this, and you're the Patriot guy. Had Pete Carroll gone to the ground with Marshall Lynch and stuck with it, could the Patriots have stopped Marshall Lynch? I know anyone could stop anyone. What are the chances?
My guess is it would not have. But if he didn't, here's the thing, though, and people always discount this. If they had stopped him on the next play, they'd had to throw the football anyway. So you had to throw it somewhere. But, chances are they weren't going to stop him. But they also know the tendencies. The Patriots practiced that specific play all week long. And Malcolm Butler never stopped it once in practice, ironically enough. But they knew that play was going to come about at some point in that game. I don't know that they knew what happened with,
I would say that was the biggest single play, most important single play in NFL history.
Yeah.
I can't think of a bigger single play. There have been other big ones you could point to.
To swing the result of the game, you mean, right? To swing the result of the game. That's what you're talking
about. Well, that's what I mean, importance.
Yeah. It's up there, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, more than up there.
Yeah. Before we go, we need to talk about
Scott Norwood's missing the kick in the Super Bowl. Biggest single play. I get it. We could debate
positive and negative. Yeah, there's positive and negative plays.
Yeah.
real quick, Yankees will be out without Aaron Judge for the next 4 to 6 weeks at least before they re-image the stress fracture in his rib cage. You and I were talking before the show. They've got a 7-game cushion in the wild card. They can probably with pitching and defense, and they have been doing some more small ball stuff this last couple of weeks, which I like to see. They can probably maintain where they are, but they're going to need Aaron Judge at some point. And this is the kind of injury that may linger past 4 to 6 weeks. You get into your rib cage, it's easy to re-injure that too. So I don't want them to rush him back myself. But
look, Aaron Judge is the single most important play on the New York Yankees. I want to get that out of the way. So I don't want to minimize his impact because he is tremendously important. But Aaron Judge wasn't having a great year for Aaron Judge this season. He was just so-so this season. And the Yankees, have been moderately successful. With Judge having a so-so season. And it depends on what the rest of the players do. With the Yankees starting pitching, the Yankees starting pitching staff is arguably the best in baseball. Okay? Today. Right. If everyone stays healthy, well, they should be okay because Judge, in all probability, is going to make it back at some point this season. It's a question of when. It might happen in the, in middle of August. It might happen in the middle of September. As long as there's enough time for him to sharpen up, get ready for the playoffs. But the playoffs are in quite a gimme. The Yankees are probably going to make it. Even with Judge out, they have a cushion.
That's because the rest of the American League is terrible, by the way.
Yeah, well, regardless of the reason. The teams behind them concern me. I'm not worried about Tampa Bay. They're not that good. They're not built to last, really, the whole season.
They're probably going to win the division now, though.
Well, I worry more about Toronto, that the Yankees have a nice lead on, that Toronto could start coming on. All it takes is for the Yankees to lose a few in a row, Toronto, Baltimore to win a few in a row. And all of a sudden, there's concern with the Yankees. You don't have it at this moment because the Yankees have a healthy cushion. But that healthy cushion can really disappear in as little as 1 week.
It could. And hopefully, again, pitching, defense, you get some guys hitting that have it, and they've started to pick it up. Grisham's picked it up a little bit. McMahon's picked it up a little bit.
Austin Wells has to start hitting it catcher.
They're
is going to come back. McMahon is hitting a little bit now. Got a key hit yesterday. Grisham is hitting a little better. Chaz Chisholm has been picking it up.
And Bellinger's got to play better on the road.
It's been a pleasant surprise.
Bellinger needs to be, as great as he is, and I love Bellinger, he's got to be better on the road than he is right now because he's really two different players. He's a great player in Yankee Stadium and or worse on the road. He's got to play better on the road. But the Yankees hopefully can withstand this. And before we go, I want to mention, as I mentioned to Jack on the top, or before we started, I should say, today, I'm not sure if it's today or not. I apologize if I got the date wrong, but we are right around the 10th anniversary of the passing of the greatest boxer in my lifetime, anyway. You've seen more than I have, Jack, but also one of the most influential athletes in the history of sports. Muhammad Ali passed away 10 years ago, either today or tomorrow. I'm not sure what the date is.
I think it was yesterday, I believe.
Yesterday? Okay.
I'm at a loss for this. How do you like that? I think it was June 3rd.
That's close.
Yeah.
But we're
coming towards the end of the show, so we couldn't do Ali justice by with the amount I would have to say about him. But in our lifetime, at least, I don't believe there was a more iconic athlete than Muhammad Ali. I'm not going to start debating who's better, and you could start arguing, well, Jordan or Arnold Palmer, this and that. But if you want to talk globally, worldwide, there wasn't a more iconic athlete ever than Muhammad Ali. There were other great iconic athletes. I understand Pele. So don't get started by naming the other names. No one topped Ali in that regard.
It's actually another good show for us to do because there's two guys in my mind, Babe Ruth and Muhammad Ali, and the rest.
And Babe Ruth wasn't in our lifetime, Keith.
No, that was true. But
Not even in mine.
Yeah, I was going. Well, I thought it was yours. That's why I brought it up. But I'm just kidding. Without Babe Ruth, there's probably no Muhammad Ali or Michael Jordan's reign.
Didn't have the popularity in Europe, worldwide, Keith. I'm not talking about United States, worldwide.
That's fair. That's fair. That's a good conversation for another day, though, for sure. But a very, like you said, iconic and influential. In sports in general, here and abroad. So we'll recognize that. I think they're having aren't they having a boxing tournament or a boxing event in Louisville in his honor? I think this weekend.
I don't know. They have the Louisville. They have the museum honoring Ali in Louisville, a special museum. You know, where he grew up. And
we remember him, and he's one of a kind. That's for sure. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about your great players today. They owe a lot to guys who came before them. So anyway, Jack, great job. And go Knicks tonight, guys. Keith, for Jack, everybody root for the Knicks. We need a 2-0 lead so Jack and Spike can have a good time Monday night at courtside at the Garden. So have a great weekend, guys. Bye-bye.